Good morning. Would you join me in lighting the chalice? We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning, a celebration of the life we share together.
As we come together, let us pause to take stock of the year now concluding, its moments of happiness and hurt, its times of accomplishment and failure, and its occasions of inspiration and fear. We add these experiences to the tapestries of our years and look bravely towards a new horizon. In case you haven't noticed, I am not Charlie Tyler. And we have a few announcements this morning. Most of those you can read in your inserts that came with your order of service. And pay attention to two dates in January where we have music on Malfrist. So we hope to see you all there. Also, we have a couple of announcements before I do that, are there any folks here that are new first or second time visitors that would like to stand and perhaps share with us who you are and we can get to know you better? Hello.
My name is Hilton, and I have two kids with me today, Alice and Ben.
Yay.
Welcome.
Welcome. Anyone else?
My name is Beth. This is my husband, Larry Armstrong. We are escaping the upstate New York winter, living with our daughter for a few weeks in Florida. And we have been here before, but it's been a few years, so it's so nice.
Welcome. Anyone else? Well, thank you for taking a chance and taking the time to walk through our doors and join us here this morning. We have a couple announcements. First, I'll ask Betsy if she wants to share.
Good morning. From the Care Committee, the news is that Jim Lampke has COVID, and he's had it for about a week now, and he's still testing positive and not feeling great. If you don't know Jim, he's the gentleman that walks through our doors with the silver walker every week, and Jim has been through an awful lot this year. He fell. He was paralyzed for a while. He had a lot of rehab. And he's such a brave, determined man. And he just lost his wife. So, good thoughts toward Jim. And cards if you like, because he'd love to hear from you. And while I was talking to him, he was talking to me about one of the gifts he could give to the church. He used to do stained glass. So, he's just a dear man. Thank you.
Patricia, I think you have an announcement.
Good morning. I have a very brief announcement. As you know, I am chair of the Finance Committee, also worked with a group on the Planned Giving Committee. And you all learned about the match, the challenge match that we set up. So I wanted to let you know some very good news this morning about the long-term financial future of our congregation. It was only about a month and a half ago that we kicked off the Planned Giving campaign, Chalice Keepers Preserving the Spirit of Life. This kickoff included a challenge match of $25,000 generously offered by Alyssa and Frank Flamenhoff. Today I can tell you that we've completed this match in a very significant way. As of now, the committee has received promises of approximately $206,000 from 10 generous individuals in our congregation. We are very grateful for the members who decided to declare their intentions by completing the confidential bequest reply form. Even though we have achieved our match, I would like to remind others who may be thinking about joining this group that the campaign ends on February 24, and encourage them to join this effort February 12th, 2024, and encourage them to join this effort to secure UUCL's financial stability well into the future. Thanks for listening this morning, and a Happy New Year to all of you, and specifically for giving your time, your talents, and your treasures to this congregation. Thank you so much.
Now, our opening words and our message today come from our own Beth Reynders. You can read a bit about her amazing career in the order of service, and I will speak for everyone else to say we will be looking forward to your latest work on the weirdest resume in America. So, Beth.
Thank you, Kim. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
It's so good to be with you here on the last day of this year. And as a prelude to the remarks I'll be offering today, I'd like to begin with a poem written by Joy Harjo. As you may know, Harjo was the first Native American to be appointed to the United States as Poet Laureate, an honor that was bestowed on her 3 times over. Born in Tulsa, Oklahoma, she's a member of the Muscogee Nation. She calls her poetry soul talk. So let me share with you a selection of her soul talk entitled, Remember. Remember the sky that you were born under. Know each of the stars' stories. Remember the moon. Know who she is. Remember the sun's birth at dawn. That is the strongest point of time. Remember sundown and the giving away to night. Remember your birth, how your mother struggled to give you form and breath. You are evidence of her life and her mother's and hers. Remember your father. He is your life also. Remember the earth whose skin you are. Red earth, black earth, yellow earth, white earth, brown earth. We are earth. Remember the plants, trees, animal life who all have their tribes, their families, their histories too. Talk to them, listen to them. They are alive poems. Remember the wind, remember her voice. She knows the origin of this universe. Remember you are all people, and all people are you. Remember you are this universe, and this universe is you. Remember all is in motion, all is growing, is you. Remember language comes from this. Remember the dance language is, that life is. Remember. And if you would, please take your hymnals and turn to number 123, Spirit of Life.
Okay, from the words of that hymn, it occurred to me just now that the donations we've been accumulating for the food banks that we support have to do with justice. That's what that was about, justice. And it's also now time for us to give our donations to support the spiritual community of which we're all a part. We'll now pass the baskets. Thank you for your generosity.
Will you join me now in reading affirmation number 434 found in your hymnals? May we be reminded here of our highest aspirations and inspired to bring our gifts of love and service to the altar of humanity. May we know once again that we are not isolated beings, but connected in mystery and miracle to the universe, to this community, and to each other.
I hope you'll forgive me with my voice a little bit today. It was a gift from my 4-year-old granddaughter. I think there may be a chance right now that some of you are leaning over and saying to the person next to you, "Who is this woman?" So let me begin by introducing myself a bit. I'm Beth Reynders, and yes, it's a ridiculous last name that usually gets translated as Reynolds or Reynders or Grinders or Reindeer, which works rather nicely at this time of year. So you can just call me Beth. I'm a proud graduate of the First Paths to Belonging class, which my fellow alums and I feel is probably the best, but definitely the most humble. And I presently serve on the membership committee and the worship team, and I also coordinate our newly formed UU Writers group. I'm very, very honored to be with you here today on this Hogmanay as we bid farewell to 2023. Now, if you're a Scot, Hogmanay, which is the last day of the year, is a very big deal. It has its ancient roots in those narratives that we humans are always creating to explain cosmic mysteries. It harkens back to the Viking celebration of the winter solstice and to the Celtic pagan festivities that mark the end of the harvest season. Eventually, this celebration gained its present name and its widespread popularity, especially after 1640, when the Scottish Parliament banned any kind of Christmas holidays due to their connection with the Catholic Church. Some say, actually, that there is a subtext to A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens, and that is that Ebenezer Scrooge was a Scot, and that's why he made people work on Christmas. Fire plays a key role in the history of Hogmanay and its celebrations. To the pagans, fire symbolized the sun's return to the land. In modern times, the inclusion of fire has involved torches, fireworks, and lanterns, and we will actually be conducting our own fire ceremony here today. At the conclusion of Hogmanay, you are encouraged to profusely welcome your first footer. A first footer is the first person of the new year to cross the threshold into your home. They are to be greeted with food and drink and generous hospitality. It's said that the nature of the first footer will influence the entire tone for the coming year. And then there is that custom that has become ensconced not only in the Scottish culture, but in cultures worldwide, the singing of Auld Lang Syne. The song is attributed to the Scottish poet Robert Burns, for it was Burns who in 1788 captured on paper for the first time what had been passed down for generations through oral tradition and folk song. Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should old acquaintance be forgot and days of Auld Lang Syne? But what do those words really mean? Auld Lang Syne. In the movie, When Harry Met Sally, Harry says to Sally, "My whole life, I don't know what this song means." Interestingly, a survey done in 2017 revealed that just 7% of Scots knew the words, and in England, only 3%. The Scottish survey further revealed that 56% of 18 to 24-year-olds didn't know who penned the classic, and 3% thought that Mariah Carey was the lyricist. And yet, Auld Lang Syne persists as a sturdy ritual, an anthem that in this country has traveled from Guy Lombardo through Dick Clark to New Year's Rockin' Eve, from Times Square to countless living rooms, through too many wars and too little peace. It continues to be accompanied by fireworks, extravaganzas, and the bursting light of a Waterford crystal ball. Auld Lang Syne, meaning old long since, or long, long ago. The classic Burns song tells us we should remember. For Auld Lang Syne, my dear, for Auld Lang Syne. We should take a cup of kindness yet for Auld Lang Syne. It's the song that ushers us from the Hogmanay celebrations into our thoughts of the future, from the conclusion of one year into the beginning of the next. And then it's January, that month whose name comes from the Roman god Janus, whose image we recognize as having two profiles, two gazes simultaneously, one looking back and one looking forward, a poignant visualization of this annual instance of transition. To the Romans, Janus was the god of beginnings, gates, transitions, doorways, passages. He was believed to preside over the origins and endings of conflicts, of war and peace. He was identified with light, the sun, the moon, and historical eras. Based on their belief in Janus, the Romans viewed the nature of any beginning as an omen for what would follow. So the Romans would caution us that it's a wise idea to start the new year on a very positive note, or to quote Creedence Clearwater Revival, there could be a bad moon on the rise. This is something that is very much like the first footer. The consonance that I see between the invocation of the Burns song and the myth of Janus is that they both plead a compelling case for remembering. Clearly, they suggest the kind of remembering that causes us to look back. They both suggest that we seize a precious moment to recall those who have gone before us, granted us countless mitzvahs, who have been vital to our lives and well-being, and to the many mysteries that have shaped us and sustained us. But I would submit that our celebratory traditions also suggest another mode of remembering, and that is every bit as valuable as we navigate the next 365 days. And that is to constantly remember the mysterious power of the human spirit to bring forth light, hope, compassion, equity, and peace. To remember that each of us has the power, perhaps even the duty, to contribute our own next chapter to the human narrative, how best to love and protect one another and the world that we live in. We are all acutely aware and unfortunately reminded rather relentlessly that 2024 bodes less than ideally in far too many ways. We will open this calendar year with wars and rumors of wars. A nagging fear has taken up residence in many of us regarding the future of democracy and the rule of law. We are vexed that those who would negate truth and justice for all no longer even bother with sheep's clothing. Our anxiety is full tilt for all who will be displaced, abandoned, robbed of rights, and denied equal treatment. As we worry for ourselves and our families, for our health and well-being on this ever-warming planet. We're entering a period that seems to have few historical echoes for us to call upon this country, and few previous blueprints that we can study for clues. Unprecedented seems to be the most frequently used word right now. For such a time as this just might be the year to dispense with all those tired and often failed resolutions of the past. You know, those ones that have a shelf life of about 4 weeks. Instead, let's commit to becoming our own best first footers, our own makers of good omens as we pass through the doorway into this new year. Let's make a New Year's resolution to do just one thing, that precious thing that Joy Harjo talked about in that opening poem that I read. Remember. For instance, let's remember that superheroes don't all wear capes, and that good deeds don't require leaping tall buildings in a single bound. In this sanctuary right now, you are surrounded by superheroes. Their deeds are large and small, done regularly and generously. They make life better for someone else. They enhance a sense of community and belonging. They give others hope, courage, support, a sense of dignity, a reason to smile and breathe more easily. You know who these people are in our lives. Remember to see them, to celebrate them, to support them, to be one of them. Remember how fortunate you are that you belong to a faith community that so actively encourages and values sharing the cup of kindness with others. Booker T. Washington once said that the best way to lift up oneself is to help someone else. Science has actually proven that kindness you offer someone else has a mysterious benefit for the giver. Acts of kindness cause your brain to release oxytocin, serotonin, dopamine, and endorphins, all that good stuff that keeps your heart strong and dampens anxiety, fear, and stress. And in the coming year, we will most assuredly be called upon to wrangle with some anxiety and stress. Who knew? Kindness is a kind of spiritual Wheaties. Alicia Ortega has recently written a children's book called Kindness is My Superpower. Let's make that a mantra for 2024. And let's remember that we can still overcome. On my flight home after celebrating Thanksgiving with my wee family up north, I pulled out the Airplane magazine and read an interview with Joan Baez. As you may know, there's a new film coming out about Baez, documenting her life and the historical events and the people that she has been associated with over the decades. The interviewer asked her how, at the age of 82, she's been able to stay committed to political resistance, especially in this time when so many of us feel disillusioned and rather disenfranchised. She counseled that even though these days can feel discouraging, we need to remember that action is the antidote to despair. She says we need to remember the investments of others who preceded us, those who devised our system of democracy, fought and died to preserve it, struggled to perfect it. She recalled John Lewis's admonition as she marched beside him, "Don't let them turn you around." Baez reminds us that to make a change, you have to take some risks, and that we can all find some way to do, as he said, make some good trouble. In this coming year, we must remember the good fortune that we are part of a faith community that holds matters of social justice in the highest esteem, that encourages and facilitates our involvement, and that surrounds us with those who share our concerns. Regardless of our age, we can still take risks and be activists for civil rights and human dignity. For instance, perhaps in this coming year, we could participate in an activity brought to our attention by our Social Justice Committee that we've never done before. Or we might consider lending our support through various organizations such as Third Act. This is a group I've learned about recently through the writing of Bill McKibben, a well-known environmental writer. The mission of Third Act is to develop a wide-reaching network of people who work together for a fair and stable planet. And I'm going to check out another organization called RIP Medical Debt. This group uses donations to cancel out medical debt for the poor. A $1 donation can wipe out as much as $100 worth of debt. And who among us that heard the Delos students speak a few weeks ago wasn't moved to some form of action by the good trouble these bright young people are making regarding literacy and book banning? Locally, nationally, globally, the opportunities for action are out there, just waiting for us. So let's remember that the March for Justice continues, because deep in our hearts in this beloved community, we do believe we can overcome. In the year ahead, we will assuredly be assaulted by relentless news cycles that turn into news cyclones, and by personal challenges that sometimes feel beyond our capacity to bear. That is when we need to remember to offer ourselves a cup of kindness, to take a break from the media and the political din that vies to own our attention, and to grant ourselves a spiritual respite to calm our minds and hearts. We might turn to things like Harjo's kind of soul talk, or to sit quietly at times with the Navajo concept of Hosho that speaks of balance and harmony. Or we might enjoy the beautiful writings of Robin Wall Kimmerer, who Charlie sometimes shares with us, the Native American woman who has found the way to blend her love of science with the, with the wisdom of indigenous culture. Or we might periodically grant ourselves the space to burn away our negative thoughts and emotions, as we will symbolically do in our fire ceremony today. Whatever the means, let's remember to breathe deeply and resist those forces that would blind us to the larger context of our existence, obscure the mysterious forces that make us human. Let's remember our interconnectedness with all things, that spirit of life that we just sang about and value so dearly. And so tomorrow, as Hogmanay concludes and the last chord of Old Lang Syne fades away, off we'll go on our next trip around the sun. It will challenge us individually and collectively, bring us joys and sorrows, test us and delight us, and at all times we will need to remember that this is not a solo journey. In this congregation, we have entered into a covenant with each other that we will travel together and always share with each other that cup of kindness. As the psychologist Mary Pfeiffer has said, no matter how dark the days, we can find light in our hearts and we can be one another's light. And here in this community, we can find safe harbor, love, and a sanctuary filled with endless possibilities of revelation. So as we bid farewell to 2023, let's resolve that each one of us will be our own marvelous first footer, and let's revel in the truth that we are surrounded by a multitude of marvelous first footers, and together we will be our own fantastically good omen.
In the words of Reverend Elizabeth Harding, the fire communion separates the end of the year from the beginning, helping us to put in perspective the joys and sorrows, the changes and transitions, the ups and downs of the year. It's a halfway point in our church year, but a celebration of the outside calendar's year end and year's beginning. Hopefully all of you have taken a piece of flash paper when you came in this morning. If not, I have some up here. And if you have a pen and would like to write down a word or a phrase of something that you would like to just let go in 2023, you can do that, or hold that in your thoughts as you, much to the chagrin of the safety committee, come up and we will burn those pieces of paper. All right.
Why don't we start a line over here, and then you can circulate back. So start a line over here. Happy New Year, Ashley. You too.
That was close.
May our lives be reflections of the beauty, peace, and joy that is possible in the world, and may the love we find in this place sustain us as we go our separate ways. Now, closing words with Beth.
There was a Scottish New Year's Eve program that always closed with a song, the lyrics of which went like this: Haste ye back, we love ye dearly. Call again, you're welcome here. May your days be free from sorrow, and your friends be ever near. May the paths o'er which you wander be to you a joy each day. Haste ye back, we love ye dearly. Haste ye back on friendship's way. As you depart today, I invite you to share a cup of kindness and raise a toast to all the beautiful first footers that surround you. Happy Hogmanay, y'all.
Shall we stand now to extinguish the chalice? While we extinguish this flame, we still carry in our hearts the light of truth, the warmth of community, and the fire of commitment until we are together again.